How do you choose an artist name? One of the most important things to do when you're starting your journey as an artist is to come up with a name. I think a name matters a lot, but I also think you just gotta pick one. Because for the longest time, I didn't release music because I couldn't decide on a name. I had a list of 682 words and names before I decided on the one I have now. So here are 10 ways to help you find a name for your project. I'm focusing on a musical artist name, but this can apply to any kind of artist. So first is just using your name, especially if you have a unique name, then this is, I think, a clear winner. It makes it really easy to set up all your accounts, and it's kind of nice to just use your name. You're always gonna like it. It feels like you, it's your personal brand. It's great. But for many of us, we have common names and there are already other artists or notable people with our names. So it's kind of challenging to use them when there's so many people with those names already. Or your name just doesn't fit the style of music or the style of art that you're making, so you might want to go by a different name. And maybe you just want to keep your name private and you don't want to have that information out there and you want to go by a different name. That's okay too. Those are all reasons not to use your name. But if you want to use your name but it's taken, there's another option is to use a variation of your name. So think about how you can use a combination of your first, last, and middle name, rearrange them, or even create a new name by combining them. Another option is to take one of your names and combine it with another name. And this is done quite often, actually. Many pop artists have done this. For example, Miley Cyrus, her real name is Destiny Hope Cyrus. Alicia Keys' real name, Alicia Aguelo Cook. Katy Perry's real name, Catherine Elizabeth Hudson. John Legend's real name, John Roger Stevens. Drake's real name, Aubrey Drake Graham. Post Malone's real name, Austin Richard Post. All these artists are using a little section of one of their names and combining it with some other new names to make their artist name. The second option is to use a name that isn't your real name or isn't even related to your real name. Some examples of this is the artist Lorde, Lana Del Rey, Bruno Mars. They just decided, let's come up with a new name that sounds cool or that I like or that could be marketed well. And who knows, these names might have been decided by a whole marketing team from the record label, or it could have just been their nickname, or you never know. So find a name that isn't your name. Maybe it's a name that you like, maybe it's a name that your friends call you, whatever that might be. Option number 3 is to combine 2 words. And this is a really popular, especially with bands. Some examples are Seven Lions, Analog Deer, Too Sleepy, Daft Punk, Former Hero, Petite Biscuit, Cashmere Cat, Alaskan Tapes, Native Species. So you can really take 2 unrelated words and combine them, and you can have an artist name. And I think there's actually a lot of options with this, just because there's so many words. You can take 2 things that no one else has combined before and have a name. I think there's actually a lot of really cool names and combinations available in there. Option number 4 is to make up a new word. And some examples of this is Millennium, kind of sounds like millennium. Drulo, which is actually a combination, I believe, of the artists. It's yeah, you could make up a word that kind of sounds like something. The disadvantage of this is it's always going to be caught on spell check, and it's probably not going to be able to be found with voice recognition. Another kind of trend is to change the first letters of a name of a popular person or thing. So like Calm Trues, Mord Fusting, Vinyl Richie, Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland's like a really cool name though. I really like that one. But yeah, you could do that. You could be like Varth Dater, Suk Liewalker, I don't know, Sender Fatacaster. Okay, maybe not that. Yeah, I guess there is always the possibility with these names that a company or another person might get after you for using a name that's too similar. So maybe don't do that. Option number 6 is an alternate spelling of a word or name. So a good example of this is the artist Griffin. He spells it differently. Churches, slushy, marshmallow. Whenever I type in marshmallow, I automatically spell it like the artist Marshmallow. So basically, it's a good way to kind of have your own unique spin on a word, or it could be a name that's already used by another artist, but you can have your unique version of that. And again, a disadvantage of this would be the spell check thing and possibly the voice recognition. I think if you become relevant enough, Siri and Google and Alexa will actually recognize your name, even if it's not spelled correctly. You could also do these abbreviated names like Arm & Hammer, Nightmare Friendship. I think they're kind of a trend that's going out of style, kind of weird, but it allows you to use names that aren't taken, but And then number 7 is a string of words or like a little mini sentence. So like, said the sky, another silent weekend, this will destroy you, explosions in the sky, afternoon bike ride, sad boy with a laptop. And they kind of express an emotion, they kind of tell a story with just the name. Also, I like these because you have a lot more combinations when you start adding in like 3 or more words. And so there's a lot more availability with these kind of names. I also think it lends itself well to certain genres. A lot of the lo-fi, ambient, post-rock, those kind of genres, it lends itself really well. But I think they can also work with a lot of, pretty much any genre. Number 9 is words combined into one. So some examples of this is lunch money, no subject, underscore houseplants, cloud chord, just normal, warm keys, phantom power. This is what I picked for my name, Freshly Sunlit. I like these kind of names because it kind of takes 2 words and turns it into kind of like a name, because when you look at it, it's just you're seeing the name, but it's actually 2 words, and I think they kind of evoke emotion and feel. I think they're very common in lo-fi beat kind of music, but you can use them for anything. And a disadvantage of this is pretty much every time it's going to be tagged under spell check, and when you type it in, it's going to want to do something else with it. Also, these names are pretty hard to be recognized on Siri and Alexa and Google and all that for voice recognition. So that's definitely a downside. And for number 10, just put club at the end of it. Bombay Bicycle Club, Tokyo Police Club, Two-Door Cinema Club, Kartoffel Club. I just think it's kind of funny. Put club at the end of it. You could be like the Smooth Jazz and Bumblebee Club. I don't know. Yeah, that's whatever strategy you choose. The 5 most important things are: 1, is your name already taken? There's so many artists who have the exact same name. Like, search on Spotify and you're like, oh, there's a band named Hot Fire, and then there's like a bunch of them. Or someone's just name and it's just like Bill Smith, and then there's just like a bunch of them. You know, that is not a good thing, because if you do that and you say, hey, yeah, I started this new project, it's called this, you can go search it, and you search it and there's like 50 of the same thing, and like, well, which one's you? I don't know. That's not good. It's really not good. So don't do that. If there's like one other artist with the same name and they have like, it doesn't look like they're active on their social media, maybe they have social media accounts but there's no followers or no activity for several years, I think it's okay. It's clearly they're not pursuing that thing, and I think it's okay to take that name. Number 2 is your name searchable. So when you type it in, if it's just like bumblebee flowers and you type that in and it actually comes up with all these results for bumblebees and flowers, then that's not good. You want to rank high in the Google search. When they type it in, you want to be one of the first things for your website and your social media presence. And number 3 is, does your name fit your style and brand? You could have a name that's great for pop music, but really not good for ambient music. So that's definitely something to consider, is it fitting to your brand? Number 4 is, how does the name make you feel? How does it make other people feel? Maybe even ask people when you're kind of trying out names, like what do you think of this name? Like, what emotions are evoked from this name? And is it what I want my music to communicate or what I want my art to communicate? And then finally, number 5, do you like it? It's important to like the name of your project and your artist name, even if you don't love it, as long as you like it, you know? Like, even the name that I picked, Freshly Sunlit, I kind of don't love it, but I do like it. It definitely wasn't my first choice, but it was a name that was available, it was searchable, it fit the style and brand, it had the right emotion. It's very likely that you won't get to choose your first choice of name, the one that you love the most, because there's just so many artists out there, but there is a high chance you will get to choose one that you like. So yeah, after you kind of have a list of some names that you like and that fit these criteria, test it out with friends and family. Just kind of ask them, hey, like, yeah, I'm working on starting this project, or this is kind of the artist name I'm looking at getting, and what it makes them think of when you tell it to them. And then give it a try on social media. Just make an account, test it out. Test the waters with the name. While you're growing your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever it is, your YouTube, try out that name. When you have a couple followers, that's an okay time to change the name. So try it out. If you don't like it, change it. And maybe you can change it a couple times. I changed my name like 5 times when I started out on an Instagram account. But I just had a couple of followers. I didn't have like a huge presence, and it was okay. But I think early on, it's okay to just make an account and just run with it. But if you're going to change your name, it's best to do it early on. I know it can be overwhelming to pick an artist name, but you got this. I believe in you. Write that list down, go through those criteria, and just pick a name. That's the most important thing. You know, there's so many bands and artists that have really weird names, but they make great music, and all of a sudden you associate their music with that name and not the word itself. I don't think a name matters that much. I think what matters is good music or good art, whatever art you make. Pick something, choose a name, and focus on creating good art. Focus on making good music and getting better at that. That's it for today. I hope this helped you in your musical journey. Best of luck to you, and until next time, create every day.